Hey everyone, it's Charlie Morgan here, and I've been making more than $10,000 a day for the last 2 years. In fact, to show you that that's true, you can see my Stripe here. This is one of my payment processes for one of my companies. You can actually see these are real live Stripe notifications confirming that I actually, in some way, shape or form, know what I'm talking about. This is one payment processor, so we make around, through other processes and bank transfers and crypto and stuff, typically $20,000 to $40,000 a day, or roughly give or take 800 grand a month, like an 8-figure business basically. And this is all online. This is with an online business. And when I was 18 years old, I figured out how to go from 0 to 10K a month. No, I'm not scamming people. I'm not selling low ticket courses to mums who want to figure out how to make money online. I'm not selling like a 997 course. I don't have a webinar for you to attend. I don't want your email. I have no interest in your financial situation. I don't want to sell you anything in this video. I just want to make this video for myself when I was 18 years old. There are 7 steps to getting to 10K a month. And if you follow them and you execute on them and you watch this whole video and you take notes and understand what I'm about to tell you, this may well change your life, because this is how I got to 10K a month. I'm just going to tell you what worked for me and the model that I used and the processes that I used, and then you can basically just copy them to make a ton of money. The first thing I want to do is set a little bit of an expectation around the sort of time frame you're looking at here. And then we're going to talk about where to start. Because obviously where to start is the big thing. You've probably got the work ethic and the desire and the willpower, like you know you want to do it, but you just don't know where to actually begin. Like what's the first problem you have to solve or the first step you have to take? But first of all, time. I just want you to know that to get to 10K a month, it's going to take you between 1 to 2 to 3 years. All right, maybe not 3, that's quite extreme. But if you've got like some level of IQ and you actually have a brain, it should take you about 18 months. 1 to 2 years is how long it's going to take you to get to 10K a month. That is provided you stick to one thing and you work with one person, like one type of person, and you just stick to it and you don't get this shiny object syndrome and hop around and grass greener. So I've devised 7 steps. Like if I was trying to get to 10K a month from scratch and rebuild my wealth and get to like 6 figures, I would follow these 7 steps. And I would follow them because these are the 7 steps that I followed that got me to 10K a month when I was 18 years old. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first question you're going to have is, where do I start? Like, what is the first thing? Because a lot of the steps you can figure out, but a lot of people just struggle with knowing what to actually do to begin with. And well, the first place you start is with the market. And I'm going to give you a lesson in how to make money online here that you need to hear before we get started. So your business is not about you. Remove this idea from your equation. You're not trying to make yourself money. What you need to learn to do is focus on the market and put all of your attention and effort and conscious thought onto this thing, a group of people that you're actually helping. Let me help you understand how money works. If this is you and you want to make money, well, money has to be exchanged for something. That's the fundamental principle of economics. And so this is someone else over here, and this can represent the market. And what you want is you want the market to give you their money. And this is the business. You're selling things to people so that you can make money. Now, if you want money, then you have to give value, okay? So money is exchanged into your pocket when you give value to the market. But then the question becomes, well, what is value? How do I give value? Well, that's an abstract term. Well, I've thought about this for about 7 years and I've been able to figure it out. So what is value? Well, value is created when pain is alleviated. And pain is alleviated when problems are solved. And so what we're doing is, in order for you to get money, we solve problems. So whenever I refer to value or adding value or creating value, really what I'm referring to is solving problems. And so the art of making money online or in any industry ever is basically just, and this is specifically with a business, you have a business, the way you make money is by finding a market, a group of people, and then basically finding out what their problem is, figuring out how to solve that problem, and then solving it, and then getting paid. And this is how money is made. We make money by solving problems. And if you don't believe me, I'd encourage you to look at any product you've ever bought, ever. They all solve problems. Let's say that you bought a sandwich. Well, you solve the problem of being hungry. Like another example, now my phone's on charge. This solves the problem of me not having any battery on my phone. Like, for example, this video is a product. Now, I'm not selling it to you. You're not giving me money, but you're giving me your attention, and YouTube's paying me to make this video. And this video is, as a product, is solving a problem of how to make money. So anything that you look at, any economic exchange, any economic endeavor or transaction is happening because of this. And so what's happening here is the market, basically, they have two situations. They have their current situation and they have their desired situation. And the current situation is where they are right now, which is in pain. And the desired situation is where they want to be. And so what we're looking at here is a pretty fundamental first principle of making money. Is you have the market, and this person represents, the market here. And we have where they are right now. So we have their current situation. And then the market wants to be somewhere else. So we have their desired situation. And between these two states is a pretty obvious gap between where they are now and where they want to be. And they would be where they want to be if their problem was solved. So here they are, current situation, painful problem. Here they are, desired situation, painful problem solved. For example, your current situation is dead broke. I'm sure that you'd be in less pain and you'd be in your desired situation if you were making 10K a month. And so as a market, right now on YouTube, people want to make money. And if someone solved that problem for them and added value by alleviating the pain by solving the problem, then they would be in a desired situation. And so this is how my business works. It's called Imperium Acquisition. And we basically, and I'm not pitching you, I'm just telling you how I've used this equation to make millions of dollars online. My business basically helps agency owners, coaches and consultants with high ticket client acquisition. So established business owners who either help businesses with marketing or other coaching services. And what we do is we basically have a program with a series of videos, like I say, it's like 400 videos. But we have a program with a series of videos, and what basically we do is someone in the market comes in, they buy the program, and then they watch the videos, apply the knowledge, and then the problem has been solved. And so they then obviously have paid us for that information and for that value, and that's how I make money, is by solving problems. And so this is the first lesson you have to understand, is it's all about the market. It's all about the people that you serve. Oh, I can't even spell market, apparently. So you shouldn't trust me, God. But it's all about the market. Your business should not serve the purpose of you trying to make money. It should serve the purpose of you trying to add value to the market. And remember, value is created when pain is alleviated. And pain is alleviated when problems are solved. So this is the first fundamental shift you need to have if you want to get to 10K a month. Stop focusing on yourself. Stop being selfish and being self-centered around this making money thing. And put all of your attention onto the market. And focus on your customers and focus on your niche and the people that you're serving. And that's the first thing you have to do. So with that little 101 lesson in mind, and I'm hoping by now your eyes are sort of opening up like, oh, I'm starting to get this now. I'm hoping that's happening. Let's actually talk about the 7 steps you need to follow and the 7 actions you need to take at a broad level to actually achieve this financial thing. So I just need to get some pens here. Okay. So considering the lesson that we just basically went through, I'd invite you to just temporarily pause the video or pause your brain and consider what you think the first step actually is. What is the first step to making 10K a month online? Just take a second to think this through, because I want your active engagement in this video, because this is how you learn. So just take a second and just write it down. You might think it could be anything, Just write it down, what you think the first step is. Some action is required. If you just watch videos like this and you don't actually do anything, well then you're not really going to get very far. Well, I can tell you that the first thing that you're going to do, numero un step, is to pick a niche. Now, what I'm going to be doing in this video is walking you through the easiest business model that I see getting to 10K a month. And basically what that is it's selling information or selling information as a service. So we're not going to be talking about dropshipping or Amazon FBA or e-commerce. However, you can use these principles to do that. But the tangible example I'm going to give you is the one that I actually use to get to 10K a month and get to 100K a month and eventually $1 million a month, because I know that and I'm going to teach it to you. But you can extrapolate the principles from that and maybe apply them to a different model. But the first thing we need to do is start with a niche. And we need to pick a niche. So the business that I'm going to teach you to start is essentially a consulting business or a service-based business, where you're finding a group of people, you're finding a problem that they have, you're identifying that problem, you're learning how to solve the problem, either by teaching them how to solve it or solving it for them through a done-for-you service. And then you're going to those people and you're selling that solution, and that's how you're making money. It's a simple equation, it's a simple transaction. But we have to start with the niche. We have to start with the group of people that we want. And so what you're going to do is you need to consider for a second here, like, your niche. So the question is like, what is a niche? Well, a niche to me is a large group of people that have affinity. An affinity basically means fractal similarities. And fractal similarities, I've just used a more complicated word to define a simple word. That was stupid. Fractal similarities, it basically means people that share attributes or things. So a niche is a collection or an aggregate of people, businesses or entities, so to speak, that have things in common, right? They are fractal in that essence. And so really when you're picking a niche, you kind of really want to work with businesses, to be honest. I wouldn't suggest picking like a B2C niche because consumers have far less money and businesses tend to have more money. And I would just suggest you work with businesses because they're better to work with. But really what we're looking for is a group of at least 30,000 people, and that's really a niche. So this could be gym owners. It could be agency owners. It could be real estate agents. The niche could be, I don't know, you could coach people on, it could be chief financial officers. It could be accountants. It could be CrossFit coaches. You know, it could be anything. But the key to picking a niche is picking one that you're actually interested in. And so in terms of what makes a good niche is really two things. Well, there's three things. We're looking for size, in brackets TAM, and I'll explain what that means in a second. We're looking for finances, financials, and we're looking for pain. So really the three things that qualify a niche to actually be good and profitable are size. The bigger the niche, the better, because if you work with if there's a niche of let's say that you want to work with luxury yacht charting companies in Caribbean islands. Well, there's probably only going to be a couple of hundred of them. So you're not really going to get very far because only a couple of them are going to want to work with you. So you need a big niche, like the bigger the better. 30,000 businesses at least, really at a minimum. Could be like YouTubers, I don't know, there's lots of people. The second thing is financials. And what this means is, do these people actually have some level of buying power? Do they have like cash or some level of financial abundance that allows them to pay for things? For example, a bad niche would be students. Students who want to eat healthy. Maybe you'd want to do coaching for healthy eating or something. Well, the problem is working with students is they don't have any money. Or like another niche could be refugees. They probably aren't going to be able to afford your services. So we're looking for size, we're looking for financials, and then the final thing that we're looking for that really qualifies whether or not a niche is any good is pain and suffering. Because remember, the way we make money is by adding value. Value is created when pain is alleviated. And so the more pain that the niche is in, the more painful the problem, the more value we can create, the more money will be exchanged. And so if you want to learn how to make a ton of money, you just need to find a ton of pain. Think of a niche like an oil field. What you're doing is you're basically finding the niche, and it's like an oil field. I'm just going to draw this here. Let's just say that this represents an oil field, and here you've got your big oil drill drilling into the ground. I don't know how the hell these things look, but you've got your oil drill here, and we're drilling for oil down here. And so what a niche is like, and what a group of people are like, is we're looking like they have pockets of pressure. So what's happening is this is the niche here underground as we go down. And what you're doing with your niche is you're trying to basically drill for oil. These are basically pain points or points of pressure. And so you're going to drill down with your offer, basically, or your product, and you're going to try and find a point of pain or a point of pressure. And by hitting that, obviously you're going to release all this pressure and it's all going to come up to the surface, and you've essentially struck oil. So when you're thinking about picking a niche and finding a problem to solve, think of it as if you are an oil corporation drilling into the core of the earth to try and find pockets of pressure that you can basically use to create value. Because if you're drilling as an oil company, you're looking for these pockets of pressure to release. And this is kind of what the human mind is fractally inside of a niche. Is like these niches, they have problems, and all you have to do is just drill down and find them. And then once you find them, you expose them, then people will basically be like, oh, damn, now I'm aware of this problem. Yeah, I'll pay you to solve it for me. That's the first step, is you need to pick a niche. So the question then becomes like, okay, well, how do I know what niche is right? Or how do I know what niche is right for me? Or what should I pick? Well, what you're looking to do here is we're looking to draw a Venn diagram, and it's not a pair of ass cheeks, I promise. But we're looking to draw a Venn diagram between what qualifies a good niche, so qualifications, and then basically you. What are you interested in, and then what qualifies a good niche? And we're really looking to find something that sits in the middle here. So for me, when I was starting my first business, this was the gym niche, and the problem I helped people solve was marketing, because the gyms needed help getting more customers. And so you're looking at what you're interested in, you're looking at what then qualifies a good niche. Just make a list of every niche you might be interested in. It can be any group of businesses. It doesn't matter, by the way, if you don't have to come at this with the intention of selling marketing or selling coaching or selling consulting, because niches have way more problems than just getting customers. Like, there's way more to the market than just client acquisition or Facebook ads or funnels. You don't have to worry too much about penning yourself into what service you're going to provide just yet. You just want to pick a group of people. And what we're then going to do is we're going to invert it, and we're going to pick the service that we offer based on what the niche needs the most. And I'm just going to put this up here. Once you've picked your niche, the second thing you have to do is basically find the problem. You've now got a group of people, or maybe a few groups of people that you might want to entertain. The key to picking a niche is just picking one, because focus is kind of the rule of success. So you pick one niche. And then what you're doing is you're going to do an audit, a problem audit. Problem audit is essentially where we go to the niche and we start doing some research. Because what we need to do is we need to find what problems do these people have. Because remember, the core rule, money is made when value is created when pain is alleviated, and pain is alleviated when problems are solved. And so if we want to start at the base of this thing to create this value and create an exchange that is worthwhile to make money, well, then we have to start with the problem, because by alleviating the problems, we alleviate the pain, and then we create the value, and then we make money. We have to go to the bottom of this thing. We don't set out, this is an important lesson, do not set out with the intention of making money, set out with the intention of properly solving problems, and the money will come. It's obliquity. We achieve making money through its opposite, which is basically exchanging value, which is solving problems. So we want to do an audit on the niche. So once you've picked the group of people that you want to help, what you're going to do is you're going to go to them. We'll just use any example, doesn't really matter. And this is just the group of niche. The best strategy for doing this is basically just going to this group of people and just asking them, like, what are your pain points? What do you struggle with? Now, you might then think, okay, well, no one's going to tell me that. But the way that I did this when I was doing my niche market research at the beginning was basically to go to these businesses and call them up and just pretend to be a student. And I'm like, hey, you won't know who I am, but I'm doing a paper for my local college on what it's like to be a gym owner. And I know that you're really busy, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind if I could just ask you maybe 10 questions about running a gym. I'm not trying to sell you anything, I'm just writing this paper and I really want to get some quotes. Would that be okay? Now, you could argue that's dishonest and it's a lie. And so maybe you want to be honest and call these people and say, I'm looking to start a business helping gym owners. I don't know where to start. I just want to know what problems you face so I can see where I can add value in the market. Doesn't really matter. But really, you should probably spend like a good week or two, a couple of weeks on this, because the better your understanding of the problem and the market that you're solving, the better you'll be able to tailor a solution. I'm hoping you're sort of starting to understand the mental model I'm using here, which is inversion. We flip it on its head. We ask ourselves what the problem is, and then we build a solution. A lot of people try and start a business by coming up with an idea. If you ask a lot of humans who want to start businesses, why haven't you started a business yet? They'll all say, oh, because I haven't got the idea. I don't know what the idea hasn't come to me. I'm waiting for an idea. But we don't come up with ideas in the shower. It's very difficult to do that. Like, you can't just bang out of nowhere comes a fantastic idea. But what you can do, and what's way easier to find, is a problem, because a solution is the idea. And so you're not going to go looking for a solution, because in order to find the solution, you first have to know what the problem is. And so we start with the problem. The second step to getting to 10 grand a month, or in this case for me, even $1 million a month, which is literally what I did, is you have to do an audit on the niche. And so you call, like I would call like thousands of people in your niche, hundreds of them at least. Email them, message them on Facebook, message them on LinkedIn, go into their place of business, right? They might not be brick and mortar businesses, but find them online and just ask them as many questions as they are willing to answer about their life. And after you've done this for maybe, I say 1 to 4 weeks, you really want to try and speak to 30 to 100 people, because once you've spoken to between 30 to 100 people in the niche and you've asked them the same questions, you'll start to be able to recognize patterns. And this is where you're going to build a massive competitive advantage over the other people, because everyone in your niche might offer marketing services or something like that. But I can give you an example. When I was in the gym niche, everyone had a gym marketing agency, myself included. But I worked with about 350 360 gyms over the course of my business, NorthFlow Consulting. You can go and Google NorthFlow Consulting. It's an actual live business if you want to. We don't have clients anymore. We got rid of them, but you can check it out. I'm not lying. It's a thing. We've got results, blah, blah, blah. Once you start noticing patterns, you can basically figure out where the value lies. Like by asking these questions, we're doing the oil drilling thing. We're just asking like, what hurts? What hurts? What is it about running a gym that you hate? What is it about running a gym that you love? What is it about running this? I'm just replace gym owner. By the way, don't go and do a gym agency, because you have to bear something in mind here that I don't know how many people are going to watch this video, maybe a couple of 100,000. I mean, that'd be nice. But if a couple of 100,000 people watch this, and the example I'm using is gyms, you have to use your brain to understand that thousands and thousands of people are about to go into the gym niche. And you might think like they're not, but they are, because it's the example I'm giving. And a lot of people are completely critically incompetent and cannot think for themselves, and they just want monkey see, monkey do retardation. So please do not go into the gym niche. I'm warning you. I don't even care if you do or not, because I'm not in the industry. But it's an example, and people take example as gospel, right? So we're looking for patterns. You can spend a week or two, a couple of weeks, trying to talk to, properly, deeply interviewing hundreds of people in your niche, and then you'll develop the patterns. And what you're looking for is problems, fractal problems that everyone in this niche seems to share. Because if you look at one or two of these people, you're not really going to be able to predict what behavior they're going to have. But if you look at them as an aggregate, they're all going to share the same thing. And that's why I can make YouTube videos that get hundreds of thousands of views, because I know what my market wants, and I know what will resonate, and I know what pain you guys have. And I was you, which is another advantage as well. So when you're picking your niche, when you're finding the problem, we're digging in, we're asking questions, we're trying to find the pain point. And so really that's the second thing here, is problem isolation. We need to get focused on something. We need to start by figuring out who we're going to help, and then we're going to figure out what we're actually going to help them do. And so problem isolation is the second thing. It's really the most important thing, because now you have the vehicle in which you're going to use to introduce value. And like I said, this can be any niche, any group of people, but just go and dig into their pain points. What keeps you up at night about running this business? Or like, what do you really hate? Or what do you really love? Or what's one thing that if I could just wave a wand, you wish could go away with specifically to this business, or specifically to this thing that you're doing? You know, find just questions that elude them to finding problems. This is literally how I did it, and well, it worked. So the third thing is now where we're actually going to start to look at building our product. Because up until really, like, you are the product in this instance. In this business model, you are essentially the product, because what's happening now is we need to basically create a solution. So the next step, the third step to building a company and actually creating value, after you've isolated the problem that people have pain about, because I can tell you right now, if someone's in pain, they will pay to solve that problem. Like, pain is the strongest form of negotiating, bartering power that we have in a financial exchange. Because the more pain someone's in, the more money they're going to put into solving that problem. And if you don't believe me, like, go and find anyone that's terminally ill and ask them how much money they'd be willing to pay to alleviate their terminal illness. They'd give their life. They'd literally give their life savings to do that. And I'm not saying that's a good moral argument to make, but you get my point. More pain equals more money. The next thing is to create a solution. So you might then have the question of, well, okay, so I've picked my niche, I know who I want to help, I've identified what problem those people have, and I've really figured out like what really keeps them up at night. And there's going to be a few things, and you can just pick the one that you might think is most valuable to solve. The next thing is to create a solution. So what we're doing now is this is all about information. So here's the wonderful thing about problems and solutions. Pretty much every single problem on this planet can be solved. If the solution, if the problem itself, if by the nature of the problem, it is within the laws of physics and nature itself, with time and the application of the right information, the problem can be solved. So as long as it's within the laws of physics, we can do it. And if you don't believe me, well, you can look around pretty much anywhere and you'll see that we've solved millions and millions and millions of problems as humans that seemingly are impossible to solve. Like, it's crazy when you think about some of the stuff that we've done. And how do we create solutions? Well, it's information. You have to think of it like this. your niche has a problem. And you need to think of this problem as if it was a lock in a door. So this is a lock in a door, and the lock requires a specific pin of a key. And so this is the problem. This represents the issue that your niche solves. And the way we're going to solve this problem and open this door is basically by finding a key that has the right code, to fit the lock. If we come along with this key, specifically this shape of key, and we put this lock into this key, then the door, lo and behold, will open. So you have to start looking at solution, problem, information. And this is how we critically think through solving these things. Your niche has a problem, you need a solution. What we're trying to do is really a solution to a problem in this day and age is information. How do you do this? How do you solve this problem for people? Well, what you do is you're going to go onto something called the internet. I'm sure you might have heard of it before. And you're going to start doing research around what information is required to solve this problem. Because here's the thing, the problem that your niche is facing has been solved. Because there are people in your niche who don't have that problem. For example, if I was in the gym niche, there's 100,000 gyms or whatever, chances are there's a few thousand gyms on this planet that don't have a problem with getting customers and don't have a problem with marketing and don't have a problem with getting people into the door and keeping members. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find those people and I'm trying to find the sources of information that they use to solve that problem. And then I'm trying to learn that information so I can then bring this information and package it into a product. So really, if you ask yourself, what are you actually selling to make money? Well, you're selling a solution, but a solution is always going to come in the form of information. Now, this isn't always true because let's say, for example, that the problem that your niche has is professional athletes who have a problem with recovery. And one of the issues that you want to learn how to solve is how to help people recover better. Let's say that one of the things that you give to these athletes that you sell is an ice bath, and that's the solution. Well, you're not really selling information. However, you did use information to arrive at the conclusion that the application of the ice bath would solve the problem of the inflammation as a result of the recovery. So you can get technical with it. But really, all you're doing in step 3 is finding out how to solve the problem. So you find the problem, then we're going to just figure out how to solve it. And like I said many times over, and I'm repeating myself a lot here, I'm aware, it's purely because I want to just drill this into your brain. The way we're going to solve this problem is by figuring out the information. I can give you an example here. The problem that, like I said at the beginning of this video, the problem that I solve for my clients is client acquisition at a high ticket level for agency owners, coaches, and consultants. So I've made my money solving that one problem of how do I help these people get customers and how do I help these people book appointments and sign clients. And so I figured out how to solve that problem by reading lots of information about psychology and systems and marketing. And after I learned all that information and I studied it for years, I then built a course that basically transferred the information over to the people that I was helping. I uploaded my brain to a course. People would then watch that course and download the information into their brain, apply the information to their situation, lock opens the door, bang, Bob's your uncle, $20 million online. That's how I've done it. You need to find the information and you create the solution. This is a lot harder to do than I'm making it out to be. It's not easy. You're gonna, this thing here, the niche thing should really only take you a day. This is gonna take you weeks, and this might take you months. This is why I said at the beginning of this video that if you wanna make 10K a month, it's gonna take you a year or two. This isn't just some 30-day, you can't just rock up to a market and just start making more money than a trained doctor has taken 10 years to make in 30 days. It doesn't work like that. You have to deserve it. And the way you deserve it is through this process. So this should take days, this should take weeks, and this genuinely should take months. It should take you a long time to figure this out. And so how do you find this information? Well, you need to start looking. Go on the internet and type in how to get and then, insert solution here to the problem. And then read every single Google page you can find, every single article, every single book, watch every single podcast, listen to every single interview. Find people who have solved this problem and ask them. Just literally all you have to do, if you think about it, is just spend a couple of months obsessing over this problem. And if you do that and you watch everything you can, consume every piece of information you can, and you then filter that information through what is right and what is wrong, then you'll probably have a pretty good job at solving it. But the problem is people don't want to spend months and months and months doing boring research into some random problem for some random group of people because it's painful and they just want to go and sit on a beach in Bali and jack off into a coconut. Sorry, that's a terrible image for you. But you get my point. It doesn't work like that. You have to go through this to bloody make it happen. So heed my warning. This is the third step. This is exactly what you have to do. It's not complicated, it's difficult, but it's simple, as literally it always should be. So that's the third thing, is you're going to spend a few months literally spending 12 hours a day obsessing over this problem and curating and finding every single piece of information that you can possibly find to solve this problem. So step number 4 here is basically offer. Up until now, let's do a little summary. You found a group of people that you're interested in and that you want to help. You found their most painful problem or problems. You've isolated one specific problem that you can use to add value. Then you've found how to solve that problem, in theory. This is the important thing in theory. You've curated or basically understood a plethora of information that, if applied to the problem, likely will solve it. And you've done that and you've verified that through people who have actually solved the problem and extensive month-long research. And you could probably write a book on the thing at this point. And that's really what would qualify you, and I think, to make money online. Could you write a 200-page book on the nature of the problem that you solve and how you help people? Or could you talk on a stage in front of thousands of people for like a whole hour or 2 hours about your thing without any prompts? Case in point, this YouTube video. I've been helping entrepreneurs go from 0 to 10K a month for like 4 years now. And I've been helping people with client acquisition for a long time. And I can sit here for hours on end and just make videos without any prompts, just off the top of my brain, with like a small legal notepad of literally 7 words. So this is the thing, you're becoming an expert, but now we have to learn how to create an offer. Because going to people and just saying, hey, I can help you solve this problem, it will work, but it's not really, you need to create a compelling sales argument, and you need to craft a persuasive, piece of text or stimulus that will actually get people to talk to you. So offer creation is a very simple structure, a very simple idea. Really, it revolves around 2 things. It revolves around tangibility, it revolves around time, and it revolves around risk reversal. And so for an offer to really be an offer, it has to be tangible. And what this means is tangibility is basically putting a number or a measurement on the solution. So for example, instead of me going to a gym and saying, hey, I can help you get more members, I would go and say, hey, I can help you get 30 new members, or I can help you get 100 new members, or I can help you add $20,000 to your new monthly EFT, electronics funds transfer. It's a gym term used in the gym industry to denote monthly revenue. And so you have to make it tangible. You have to figure out what the solution is, and you have to put a number to it. For example, let's say that your niche is executives, male executives who want to increase their testosterone. Well, specifically, how much are you going to increase their testosterone by? Are you going to double it? Are you going to triple it? Are you going to increase it by 500%? You need to have some sort of tangibility for them to basically be able to visualize and properly conceptualize the solution, because as human beings, we work in tangibility. The second thing in your offer is the time frame over which that tangibility is bound to manifest. And so if I tell you I can help you increase your testosterone by 100%, I need to give a time frame to it, because without a time frame, the offer is rather chaotic, and people are going to be like, well, is it going to take like a year? Is it going to happen tomorrow? We need to set the expectation as to how long it's going to actually take for this thing to actually happen and manifest. Next thing is risk reversal. So once you've defined the tangibility and the time frame, now you need to actually put your money where your mouth is. And what that basically means is you need to be able to say to people, I'm going to get you this result in this time, and if I don't, you either don't pay me or I'm going to give you back your money. There needs to be some way for people to eliminate their risk. And risk is usually going to be all about finances. Because if you're asking someone to pay you to get a result in a specific time frame, it really helps them to know that if they don't get that result in that time frame, that they're going to receive their money back, or that they can essentially try to solve this problem without risk. And people love risk aversion. People are naturally risk averse. We have a cognitive bias in our minds called loss aversion. It's probably one of the most powerful cognitive biases that drives our behavior in psychology. And in order for you to use that cognitive bias to persuade people to buy, you need to have risk reversal. Because here's the thing, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't want to guarantee results because I don't want to have to give people's money back. Well, it's a stupid statement is a stupid argument. The market sets the conditions for survival, and the conditions are very competitive. And what I mean by that is if you don't have the confidence to guarantee that what you do works with a money back guarantee, why should anyone on the planet have the confidence to buy it? Sales and acquisition is the transfer of emotion at its purest form. And what I mean by that is that if you don't have the confidence to offer a guarantee or have the confidence to put money where your mouth is with pay on results or something, then why should anyone buy from you? It's as simple as that. So that's really what an offer is. And if you have those three components of an offer, you've kind of done pretty much all the work. Now, if you want to learn how to create an offer in a little bit more detail, you can always go and read Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers. But generally speaking, if you have the tangibility, the time frame, and the risk reversal, you're going to get pretty far. And also, the cool thing about this is the more you've understood your niche and the more you've researched the problem and the more you've researched the solution, the better your offer will be, because you'll know the lingo. You'll know how to communicate with these people and what messages are going to resonate with them and work incredibly well. Because it's pretty simple. I can give you one small example. When I used to reach out to CrossFit gyms, my offer to CrossFit gyms was not I can help you get more members, it was I can help you get more athletes. Because a lot of CrossFit gyms, at least the ones that I was reaching out to, would refer to their members as athletes. Okay, and if I was reaching out to coaches, I knew that there was different levels to the coaching. I knew the name of the guy who created the CrossFit gym, and I knew that a lot of CrossFit gyms kind of found him a bit annoying. So you can just, when you've done your homework, you can really create offers and you can talk to people properly. And this is once again the drilling for oil thing, where we've got these different oil fields below the surface, and we need to drill down and use our offer to use words that basically invoke emotion and pain to do this. So that's the fourth step. Without getting into too much detail, that's how you create an offer. When I teach offers at a more advanced level, it does get far more complicated than this. But we're not trying to build a 8-figure business. You just want to get a couple of clients a month, and you should be able to do it with that. Okay, so number 5. Number 5 is where we're actually going to start doing some damn work. Okay, and this is where it gets pretty simple. This is where it becomes more about your pain tolerance than anything else. I'm talking about outreach. So once you've found the problem, solved the problem, or at least understood how to solve the problem, and you've packaged that problem up into a compelling offer, well, now really all that's left to do to make money is to put this offer in front of as many people in your niche as you possibly can. And so outreach is basically the art of finding people in your niche, online typically, and using some mode of electronic communication to present your offer, which is basically a stimulus, to your niche. It's as simple as that. And so all we're doing is we're calling, we're emailing, we're texting, we're WhatsApping, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anything you can use to get in front of these people. And all we're doing is we're selling them our offer. We're saying, hi, John, I know that as a blah, 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 you probably have this, blah, 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 blah. I can solve this problem for you with X result in X time frame on risk reversal basis. Don't suppose that might be of interest to you. It's as simple as that. You can probably use that script and get clients. You might have to get a little bit more creative than that, depending on the saturation of your niche and how many people have tried to solve the problem before you. But this is why I'm not recommending you do a marketing agency or something. I've got lots of examples of very cool little unique niches and businesses that I'm not going to give you because it will just spoil it for the people that are in them. But it's super simple. You just reaching out. And basically, the rule that I'm setting here is you really want to reach out to 10,000 people before you make any changes or give up. This is the rule. The rule of 10,000 is very simple. And what the rule is when you start doing outreach, you're going to start facing resistance and pain, because you're going to have to start facing rejection, and people are going to attack you, and people are going to be rude and nasty, and you're going to have all sorts of problems with this emotionally. But the rule is you do not quit, and you do it every single day until you've reached out to at least 10,000 people with your offer. Until you've done this, you cannot invalidate this, or this. Do not switch niche, do not switch problem, do not switch solution, do not switch offer until you've done 10,000. Because most people, if you've done this properly, and you've properly researched your niche, and you've properly tried to solve the problem, and you've properly made it tangible, time frame based, and you've reversed the risk, this should work. And if it doesn't work, if the outreach doesn't work, it's probably more because of your emotional state and the fact that you're not really doing the work properly than the validation of the business principles. So that's really it. You just start doing outreach. You just reach out to people, and then off you go. And it's not as difficult as you might think. You're just going to make a lot of calls. When I had my first business, I made about 300 cold calls a day for like 6 months. That's how I got from 0 to 10K a month. Just 300 cold calls a day. Literally just to gyms. It was horrible. I hated every single minute of it. It was disgusting, but I don't really have any regrets. So the next step after outreach is to sell. Because what's going to start to happen when you do outreach properly is you're going to start to book appointments. You're going to start to get people reply to your emails or calls and say, okay, yeah, I have that problem and I'd be interested in you solving it for me. I'll talk to you about that. And so then you have to learn how to sell. And this is, I can't really cover this in this video because it's going to take like a long time. But really, sales is pretty simple. It's just know your market, know your thing, find the problem, diagnose the problem, tell them you can solve it, and then just don't take no for an answer. That's really the art of sales. But I'm here just to give you more of a high level view of how to sell or like how to actually make 10K a month. You can if you don't know how to sell right now, I wouldn't worry too much about it until you've actually got meetings to worry about. Because the problem is with people who want to make money online is they try and start with number 5 or number 6. Like they skip the very foundation in which their business would be built on, and they go straight to the shiny object. For example, look at you on YouTube, right? You want to make 10 grand a month. I bet all of your time and effort is focused on the shiny object of like, what's the best outreach method to use, or what's the best sales script to use, or the best funnel to use. But how much time have you actually spent researching how to isolate and solve problems and think critically and Socratically reason your way through ideas? You haven't, because you don't know to, but now you do. So go and do it. So sales is pretty easy. Sales is easy when you actually believe in what you're selling, right? When you've actually done this properly and you truly believe that what you do works, sales is pretty simple because it's just a transfer of emotion. Just gonna hop on the call, spend 10 minutes asking them questions about the problem, build some pain. And by the way, if you want to know how to do this, just go on YouTube and just type in like sales scripts. Like you're going to find like dozens and dozens of live sales calls that people have closed. There's so many sales resources on the internet these days, and they're all pretty good. Jeremy Miner's a good guy to listen for sales advice. Cole Gordon's another good one as well. So just go and watch those guys, and within like a week, you'll probably have a pretty good script down that you can try, and that's that. And then the same thing applies here. Like you want to speak to at least 100 people before you give up. So fun fact, I'm pretty bloody good at sales now. I've done 2,500 sales calls in my time. I don't do them anymore because I've got 9 sales reps that do them for me. However, I got pretty good at sales, but I did I think 60 or 70 sales calls before I got my first client. So don't be worried if it takes you 50 calls to 100 calls to get your first client. It took me 60. If you listen to me on the phone now, you'd think, God damn, he's good. And I'm bloody good at sales. I can sell. That's one thing. If I know there's one thing that on this planet that I can do, it is sell and draw. I can't draw. I can definitely sell. And so it took me 60, 70 calls to get my first call, my first deal. So don't worry too much if it takes you a long time. Just like I said, 18 months, 2 years. Trust the process. Just take your time. Don't be in such a rush and a hurry. Do it properly. And then really once you get to this point, you're probably going to be making 10K a month. Obviously, this is very reductive and a very simplified version of how to get there. But the final step is really important, and that's to start building systems. So a system is kind of just defined as a consistent, repeatable, predictable process that uses inputs to create outputs through processes. And basically, what I'm going to ask you to do now is comment in the comments below which of these steps you want me to explain in more detail. Which of these steps sound complicated to you? I can make a video on systems thinking. I can do that. I like systems. I can talk about them all day. A system is basically just an input, a process, and an output, and then feedback and environment. I don't want you in any way, shape, or form to worry about systems right now, because the fact of the matter is you don't have to. Starting a business is like driving a car at night. You only want to focus on the road immediately in front of you, because if you start trying to look down the line here, or here, or here, you're going to wrap your car around a tree. Just your lights are only going to illuminate what's immediately in front of you. Don't worry about these things yet. Just worry about these things and getting these right before you worry. So the reason I put systems down here is because what you're trying to do in your business is you're trying to build repeatable processes that you can follow to get clients and close clients and deliver results. That's really what an online business does, at least one of these consulting or service-based businesses. You're basically getting appointments, closing those appointments, and then getting the people who you close results. Those are the three things that you have to systemize and focus on. And if you learn how to do that properly, you'll make a ton of money. That's really what I've done. But anyway, that's basically 0 to 10K a month. I know this is how it works because I've done it myself, and I've taught this to like 2,000 people at this point in my paid programs. And like I said, you can't buy my paid program if you're a beginner. Like, we quite literally will disqualify you and we'll cancel the call if you don't have a business. So if you have an agency or a coaching consulting business and you identify as one, what I mean by that is you might not have any clients yet, but you feel like you kind of are one, then you can use the link in the description to schedule a call. But if you're just starting out and you've got no idea about how this business thing works, you haven't really spent any time on it, I hope this video helps you because, well, yeah, I wanted to make it for you because if I had this when I was starting, my life would have been a lot easier. And God knows, I would have made more money. Bye.